You've just tuned into Legends of the Panel podcast, your bi-weekly one-stop shop for comics, TV shows, interviews, news, and more. Hosted by your infallible hosts, the Lady Archer.
I'm trying to use all my words. My magic hat.
Your magic hat?
Yeah, I brought my hat. Do you want to see it?
Is it a sorting hat too? Oh, that wasn't a magic hat, ma'am. And famously off-roading hosts Chulak and KJ the Comic Guy.
I am not going to do a Monty Python sketch.
Why not?
I'll go from doing that voice. I don't like spam.
You know what? Across the, I love spam. No, I have spam, and spam.
Are you suggesting coconuts migrate? And now, to kick things off, here's the crew from Legends of the Panel podcast. KJ the Comic Guy, the Lady Archer, and Chulak.
You know something?
No, what?
You read too many comic books.
Welcome to Legends of the Panel podcast on the Geek Culture Cast Network. My name is Chulak, and I am finally back in studio with my fellow co-hosts, the lovely Lady Archer.
Hey, everybody.
And KJ the Comic Guy over there. How are you doing, sir?
I'm sorry. Who are you, and what are you doing in this chair?
Yeah, I know. It has been a long time. I'm very glad to be back in studio. My first appearance back on the network was in last Warp My TARDIS podcast episode, and it felt weird. I mean, KJ even did the recording side for me because normally I've always hosted the recording, and I was like, I don't know, what buttons do I hit? Just do it. So he just did it. So I'm back in the studio. I'm glad to be here. We're talking comics today. If you would like to follow us, you can follow us at Legends Panel. In our other shows on the network, you can follow Active Geek Podcast at ActiveGeek_. Warp My TARDIS Podcast at Warp My TARDIS, and the network at Geek Culture Casts. If you're enjoying our shows, make sure you leave us a like and tweet at us using the hashtag GCCN. Boom! I actually put the socials in the front. Oh yeah, we're also on Facebook, but whatever. I tried to make it easier.
Are you proud of yourself?
I am so proud of myself that I can read off a legal pad. It's awesome. Man.
It's about time you caught up.
I know. You were making fun of me off the show, like, oh, he's got another, notepad. Oh, you and your show notes. But I need them because I have ADD. Lots of ADD. So, how's everyone been? This is the first time I've been able to be with the Lady Archer. How are you, lady? I've been watching you on KJ Behave. This is the first time I've been able to hang out with you. I've been watching you, stalkerly-ish, via your social media.
I knew it was you in the bushes. Damn it! Get away from me, you weirdo!
I'm sorry, but no, hats off to you because you have been working your butt off. And I've been seeing some of the posts that you've done from your post-workout regimen that you've been doing. Congrats. I haven't seen you in person in a while, but you definitely have lost some weight. I'm just saying. So, congrats. Tip of the hat. I've gained weight. If you want to take some of mine back and just, no? You don't want to? Okay.
No, go fuck yourself.
Oh! How far in? 4 minutes and 19 seconds in, and we're already explicit. I love it. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. How was your Christmas and New Year's? I didn't get to...
Yeah, nobody died. Everybody made it through.
Too soon.
That's as much as you can ask for in some cases, I'm afraid.
Yeah. First off, I want to kind of thank everyone for my absence. I know it's been, 5 episodes of shows that I've missed.
I am more than 2 months, my friend.
I know, but the mix between Warp and everything else, I think it was 5 or 6 shows that I've missed. I'm back, hopefully, forever. we'll see how this goes, or until you guys fire me. It's whatever. I'm back.
I mean, we've found we can do it without you.
That's what I'm told. So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and mute my mic now, and I'm going to go, I don't know, catch up on Supernatural or something. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't watch Supernatural.
In the shower crying game.
It's got to be a really hot shower, but that's totally possible. Maybe. I don't know.
No, we missed you. KJ and I have, talked about how then we need a third chair.
Well,
there's got to be someone with a large ego that we have to beat down with a bat.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Gotta beat that bitch with a bat.
Oh my gosh. I've missed you too. Oh man, I'm so glad to be back and being degraded and beaten down.
The
with
only
a
real
bat.
catch is for missing our fourth chair because Mr. Loki is not in the room.
So yes, for your viewing pleasure, the people that are recording the podcast with me, there's a chair back here, and Loki, Mr. Hiddleston, was supposed to be in it. Instead, he decided to be on the floor below us. So, I was totally thinking.
He should get his own camera.
That's what
his own doggy bag.
That's exactly what I said off show before we hit the record button. I was like, "Hey, I should just put the other camera on him, and just it's like the snooze camera because all he does is snooze." And I'm glad I didn't because I would have set it up for the chair, and then he would have gotten on the floor, and that's kind of where we're at. So, what's up, man?
He doesn't like being on camera. We know this.
No, he doesn't. He does not. He likes his glancing, walking in, and then you just see his leg or the side of his head, and then he disappears. It's kind of what he likes to do.
He's kind of like Tom Hanks. He photobombs.
Tom Hanks. So, guys, it is officially, I have to look at my watch because of the date, February 1st, which in the United States is the beginning of Black History Month. Some of you may be saying, really? What are you guys talking about? This is a comic book show. Well, we actually kind of wanted to talk about some Black History Month and black superheroes and black heroes in the comic book world. Starting that off, this month we have the Marvel movie Black Panther coming out. Are you guys excited to see this movie? Anyone?
I am. But I think I'm a complete moron because I forgot that it was February. I literally thought it was still January today for some reason.
Listen, January drug on.
Something about the Black Panther movie. I was like, they should have waited for Black History Month. And then everybody got real quiet, and they're like, Amanda, what day do you think it is?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, first off, I thought January was just going to drag on. I thought we were on January 42nd. And then I was like, oh yes, February 1st is tomorrow. So, I'm glad we're finally into a new month. This is Black History Month. And, what I've decided that I'm going to do, and it's kind of funny because it sounds like the Lady Archer herself was, I don't know, brains linking up here. We both kind of had the same idea in different ways for topics to talk about on the show today. So we're just going to kind of blend them together. I like her idea because it goes back further than my idea. So we're just going to put those two together and kind of talk about it on the show today.
Stalk me in real life, stalk me online.
I know.
Will get a restraining order.
I know. By the way, you do not sleep peacefully. I just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, one of the cats smothers you literally. I've seen you try and fight that off.
That's really creepy because that is literally fucking true. That is so fucking true.
I was totally
you
joking.
rat bastard. Get out.
I don't know if you have a window, but I'm looking through it. No, I'm not. I haven't been in Charlotte long enough to spy on you, so... Oh, man.
I've dropped my video quality because somebody has decided to turn on his Twitch stream downstairs.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would do that, so I'm fine.
However, notice that the tally board is running.
Yeah, we're on 3 fucks. Ooh, do I get one? Because, I mean, we're already explicit.
No.
Dang it.
You don't count.
Yeah, KJ showed me the board before the Warp My TARDIS recording last week. And I was like, what is all that? It's like, those were the F-bombs from the Lady Archer. I'm like, oh my gosh. I think there's 20 in there. But yeah, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get anyone to follow our hashtag, which was don't give 20.
Oh my god.
Did anybody follow the hashtag about giving me my own show, at least?
I think you should have your own show. You just got to show up, and I'll hit the record button. I'll just sit back, drink beer, and watch.
It'll just be me.
I think Bobby was all about it.
Rambling manifesto.
Bobby Anthem is all about
Doing
it. Let's do it.
I thought about it. Okay, so this is the name. If I ever get my own show, this is the name. It's gonna be, what the frack am I talking about? And basically, I'm just gonna show up and ramble my manifesto about, I don't know, how I hate coupons, or how children annoy me, how I want to pick up every cigarette butt that people throw on the ground and throw it back in their face and say, watch your own butts, but I don't do it because it's illegal.
How is that illegal? You should do it.
That would be the first, that's the first episode, me rambling about how I hate people throwing cigarette butts on the ground, and I just want to pick it up and throw it right back in their faces.
Well, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday because it comes before Christmas. That's going to be gloves, so you can pick up said cigarette butts and not get all the germs on your fingers and throw it at people.
No, I would get one of those dinosaur arm reachers.
Little T-Rex thing?
I get like a nice fling, and maybe some of the ash would, fall in their eye, and they'd have to wear an eye patch for a while, and then they'd really learn to take your damn cigarette butt and put it in a fucking trash can. You fucking animals.
That's 2. There you go. I was about to say, we're up to 5 now. All right. So, moving on before we get up to 20 before the first 10 minutes of the show. Actually, 11 minutes of the show.
No, too late.
Yeah, too late. So, I know you guys have seen the Black Panther trailer. Some of our listeners, maybe they haven't. We're just going to play the quick normal trailer. Just so you can kind of hear it. Again, this month, we have Black Panther coming out. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is one of the new cool features that we've got in our little broadcast system that we have for each other. So, without further ado, here we go. We're going to play some Black Panther.
I have seen gods fly. I've seen men build weapons that I couldn't even imagine. I've seen aliens drop from the sky. Yeah. But I have never seen anything like this. How much more are you hiding? Hold up. Let's go. We are home. My son, it is your time. Show me my respect and bow down. You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be. Don't freeze. I never freeze.
The revolution will not be televised.
Show me my respect and bow down. We own ya. We own ya. We only getting started now. Cause we own ya. Everybody think they know me now. Cause we own ya. You and I'm a homie. Cause we own ya.
I waited my entire life for this. The world's gonna start over. I'ma burn it all.
What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. The revolution will not be televised.
Let's have some fun.
The revolution will be live.
So I don't know about you guys, but I think that trailer is badass. What do you guys
I'm
think?
pretty pumped.
I
I'm
mean,
pretty pumped.
the music's good, the action looks great, and I think they've got, we've already seen the actor several times, and I think he's going to do a great job. I'm excited for his co-actors that play alongside of him, some of the notable characters from his comic book series. I think this is going to be a great movie, and
My question is, in the comics. He and Storm were married for a time, and they had a baby.
Yes, exactly.
That's really weird. I've never I don't show my face on the screen, and then to see KJ not show his face, and then just his voice come out of nowhere, really creeped me the fuck out.
There's 6. Well, unfortunately, one of the Offspring's significant others is streaming on Twitch,
hey,
and
Disney owns Fox right now, so
Disney owns Fox, huh?
Disney owns Fox.
Yes.
Disney owns Fox.
So effectively, Storm could show up in the show up in the MCU as the wife of T'Challa.
I don't know how that would play out. I don't think they're going to go that way. I think they're
Let me fucking dream.
You keep dreaming, lady, but I don't think we're going to see X-Men again. Standalone.
As soon as we're done, I'm going to go write my own fan fiction.
Do it. Hey, that should be your first podcast episode. Why you think that Storm should show up in the Marvel MCU?
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, my first podcast episode is going to be about my fan fiction.
No, please. Yeah, you just sitting there writing the fan fiction live on your podcast. That's what you should do.
Hey, I already wrote an outline for the new for my fake Justice League Dark movie, so
she did it on the show.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that should be a podcast in itself.
This is proof that he didn't listen to one show.
I'd already said.
Because the night nurse has to find out who she is. Yeah. And it's Constantine sitting there going, yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Well, that's not quite the line that we used, but I mean, it was a good outline.
Oh, I like this. I think this should be an actual show, just the Lady Archer. I'll give you all the material you need, whatever you need. I will buy you the alcohol. You just show up and you just do it.
I either want my name to be the Rambling Manifesto of Lady Archer or What the Frack Am I Talking About with Lady Archer?
As long as it's an exceptionally long name that nobody can find on Twitter or whatever social media where they're like, oh, dang it, I missed an L. Dang it, I missed an A. You know, where they're like trying to figure it out forever, and then they're finally, we're just going to go to the website. Yep, do it.
Which is just, can we get What the Frack as a Twitter handle?
I doubt What the Frack is available, especially after all the fracks that were used in Battlestar Galactica. So I doubt that. But
that's where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's the origin.
That is the origins with What the Frack, the Lady Archer. But yeah, I'm excited for this movie. I think that it's going to open up a whole new line for the Marvel Universe to kind of, if they want to really spread their elbows out in. Wakanda is such a vast city, and it's got a great storyline with the Black Panther, and they can go off in any direction they want to. And we've already kind of seen that some of the actors that the Marvel MCU has had on contract, you know, their time is kind of running out on some of the actors, and they're not really continuing. I mean, we're even looking at, you know, the actor who plays Captain America, which everyone knows. We don't know what's going to happen after, I think, Infinity Wars. I don't think he's got another movie on contract after that, as of right now. Doesn't. Unless it's just hidden and they haven't talked about it. But I think we're going to see Mr. Rogers die off in Infinity Wars, which I'm okay with.
Or maybe he just leaves.
Or maybe he just
doesn't have to.
He's
die.
a nice guy.
No one has to die. People just like to kill people because they like to make people cry and emotionally torture them. So, fuck you.
I was about to say, do it. Yes, we're up to 8. Anyway, I'm super stoked about it. When does this movie come out? February 8th? Is that right? Or am I a week off?
I thought it was February 2nd.
I thought it was next week.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th.
Let me go look at IMDb.
Yeah, go look it up. It could be this weekend, but I want to say I remember an 8 in there somewhere. If it was the 8 or 18, 18 doesn't sound right. No, 18.
18's not right.
It's either technically tonight, technically tomorrow, or the 15th or the 22nd, because, you know, they always release them on like a Thursday or something like that. Either way, it's going to be a great movie. I'm very interested to see how their story plays out, which way they're going with it, and how it ties back into the MCU and Infinity Wars and everything else, because He's a strong character. I think he's well written, and I'm excited for it. So hats off to them.
So
what you got?
The details. The release date is February 16th, the Friday after our next show.
Yeah. Okay. So,
What?
that means that technically tickets will start the 14th, because then a lot of movie theaters start Wednesday for some reason, and then Thursday, Friday.
Well, I don't know. Wednesday being Valentine's Day, they may not. Anyway, sorry, Lady Archer. I know it's that time of year where you're bombarded by chocolates.
Yes.
Fucking hate Valentine's Day.
Oh, wait a minute.
Celebrate love every damn day, not just one fucking day a year, people.
That's 10.
It's 10. 10 in the first 20. All right.
So did you know that Black Panther is also known as Pantera Negra?
In Spain?
Pantera Negra would be Black Panther.
Moving on.
I don't want to answer that question.
So I kind of wanted to, that we briefly kind of talked about the movie coming out later this month. We're not going to really go crazy into the story, because other than the trailer, I haven't seen anything on the story. I haven't really jumped into it, and I don't really want to ruin anything for any of the listeners that are excited for this movie. But I did want to touch on Black History Month in the aspect of notable Black characters in comic books that most people know. Lady Archer had a similar idea that I kind of talked about at the start of the show, where she was just going any resemblance almost in comic book world of Black characters. So I'm going to kind of let her lead off with what she wanted to talk about tonight, and then I'm going to kind of go a different route with more of the mainstream comic book characters, and then I'm going to talk about which ones are actually written by Black American actors or writers or Black artists, because it's kind of shocking. It's an eye-opener that a lot of them are not written or drawn by Black Americans. So, Lady Archer...
Are you really shocked by that?
I mean, I thought that there at least would be like a mixture, or some type of, hey, let's go talk to these people and kind of get some stories. But
honey,
I know.
white man.
Hang on a second. How many cons have you been to?
I've been to a few.
How many people of color do you see in Artist Alley?
At Heroes Con, it's probably a 3-to-1 ratio in favor of the Caucasians. In Toronto, I would probably say it was like maybe a 60-40 split.
How about a 7-to-1 split?
Really? In Toronto?
Oh, dude. There were more Asians and Hispanics than there were people of color.
Yeah. I'm kind of... Never mind, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Lock it up. Anyway, Lady Archer, you were talking about the first appearances of Black characters in comic books. What did you find?
So, I'm not going to go back to the very first appearances of characters in comic books because,
it was racist.
well, yeah.
Straight up racist.
I was trying to, put this in a light that isn't terrible, but hell, come on, we all know the past. We've read history. We live in the South, all that.
Except for
bullshit.
The great Canadian up there.
Yeah, I'm above the Mason-Nixon line.
Far above it.
I said Mason-Nixon, not Dixon. Nixon.
Anyway, so while one of the first mainstream Black superhero characters is Black Panther from Marvel, which first appeared in 1966, one character that made their way to the page before him was Waku, the Prince of Bantu. I don't think I pronounced most of those words correctly. I'm sorry. I am a little dyslexic. And he first appeared in the 1950 comic Jungle Tales from 54 to 55. So that was about a year. And then the other characters came along, but they were mainly supporting characters. They never had their own book. And that was Jackie Johnson, who was part of the East Company, one of the Howling Commandos. But actually, while Black Panther was one of the first mainstream superheroes, the actual first superhero in Marvel of African American have said descent, like they're real people. They're real to me. Was Luke Cage, and his book was called Hero for Hire, and that was later followed by Black Panther's own comic book, which was titled Jungle Action, and then followed by Black Goliath, and then later on Storm from the X-Men as well. One of the first comic book characters for DC would be John Stewart in 1972 when he became a Green Lantern after Hal Jordan took a break.
Took a break.
We could say Hal Jordan just bit it, but he's only bit it 4 or 5 times.
I mean, in comic book characters, in comic book life, there's
no
only
one
like
really
5 people
dies.
that stay dead.
Yeah. Uncle
Ben and Batman's family never coming back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then DC's first black superhero to start in their own comic was actually Black Lightning, which you can now watch on WB, which is a really strong show.
It's on CW.
So it's on the CW, but guess where I get to see it?
Canadian Broadcasting, whatever it is.
No, on Netflix.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We had discussion last week.
Wait, is the whole show on Netflix?
Yeah.
No, it's coming week by week. We actually get each episode weekly.
So that was kind of similar to when I visited him last year.
I wish that would happen here because the CW, they don't show their shows on Hulu, so you have to go to their own website, which is terrible to navigate.
With tons of ads.
So if you miss an episode of anything, you're kind of screwed, which I hate, but I digress.
So,
and then after Black Lightning, we have Cyborg, who was a member of the Teen Titans.
We might have seen him in that Justice League debacle.
Yeah. It wasn't horrible to the point where I would never go watch it again, but I'm not going to pay full price for it.
I refuse to buy it, considering it's already available on Blu-ray here in Canada.
Ooh, send me one. But that's just kind of the first kind of stepping stones for many of the black superheroes that you see in comics. There are many other characters that have come along the way. I'm sorry, I got my list messed up. So we have Steel, which is John Henry Irons.
Oh, I forgot about him. Oh, that was an awesome movie.
He basically took over for Superman when he, quote unquote, died in the 90s.
I was going to say, which death was that?
I mean, he's died so many times. Who fucking knows?
Okay.
Vixen is a female African American, and she's also being portrayed on the CW show Legends of Tomorrow.
Yep.
You have the African Batman, which I have to say, I liked his storyline, but I felt like they just bogged him down with so many tropes that he couldn't. I think people didn't get the point of him, which was really sad because I thought he had a great storyline, and especially now where people talk more about how war affects children and becoming a soldier, becoming a child soldier. I really wish he would have his own run right now, because I think that would just bring so much real world topics.
Yeah, it's a perfect time in the
people.
political environment to put that character in now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have Misty Knight, who was a police officer, and she has a robotic arm. Hopefully, we'll see her in
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. I was gonna say Iron Cage for some reason.
Iron Cage. I'm making a new one.
Iron Cage.
Why did I do a pirate voice?
And of course, I don't know.
I don't know either.
And of course, Static Shock, which is a newer superhero. He's only been out for the
past 10 years, 15 years, something like that.
past 10 years, but he had an awesome run in the comics. I hope they see him more in the more recent comics, and he did have that really cool TV show.
Cartoon show, yeah.
Which, if you can't sing that song, are you really a comic book fan?
It's been forever since I watched that show, but I remember I watched that every Saturday when it came on. It was one of my favorite shows.
In the back of my head. Amanda Waller.
Yep.
Well, she's not really.
She's a side character.
She's not really a hero, or she's not really a superhero. She's definitely not really a hero.
But she plays a pivotal role in the universe for DC.
Especially, I feel like her and Batman love to hate each other, and I love to see their banter back and forth in the comics. They talk about Luke Cage. Here's one from for you, Chulak Spawn.
Mm-hmm. You're hitting all of my artists all of my characters I'm talking about so far.
Okay, well then I'll stop.
Oh, no. Keep going, because what I'm talking about is a little bit later on. It's more so like who created them. So please continue. So you got Spawn. Please continue.
Frenzy. Does anybody remember Frenzy? Because I feel like I'm the only one who remembers her.
I don't remember Frenzy.
She was Marvel, right? Was she Marvel?
She was Marvel, and she was with the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the few people that could exchange blows with Rogue and She-Hulk without breaking a sweat. Darwin from the X-Men 2. Remember, you see him in X-Men First Class, where he has the ability to basically change his state of evolution.
Yes. Yeah. He's the one they kind of used for trying to get the mutant cure.
Bishop, who I'm pretty sure needs to show up in one of the X-Men movies that maybe Disney will do, because do you guys remember? Okay, the was it Wolverine or was it X-Men, where they showed Bishop, and no, it was the second Wolverine where he went back in time.
Yep.
And they had Bishop there with the M. If that boy does not get his own movie or show or whatever, they are wasting an incredible storyline. He has, for being a character that you don't see a lot of, he has such an extended, incredible storyline that I'm really kind of shocked you won't see him in the upcoming Deadpool movie, because Bishop and what's his face?
Deadpool?
No, the guy Cable. He and Cable have such an intertwined storyline sometimes. The fact that he's not a part of it, it's kind of upsetting to me. Can you imagine Ryan Reynolds, what's his face playing Cable, and then
what's his face being Josh
Bishop?
Brolin?
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit about him. Oh god, who could play Bishop and play off those two?
Bishop?
Lawrence Fishburne?
I wouldn't. He's a little too old for Bishop, I think.
No, I don't think think he is.
Bishop to me is like in his mid to late 30s, but worn down
Bishop is
like
much
fighting
older.
wise. Really?
He's like 40, close to 50, I think.
I feel like he's in his like mid to late 30s, but he's just like worn down from like all the fighting and everything that he's been part of. So you get like that jaded
Well,
look.
that leaves
of
us
him.
with Will Smith.
I will stab you
No,
in the eyeball.
No.
No. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to start jumping in on you now, Lady Archer.
Go ahead. I mean, I didn't really want to give. I like I said, this was really more of just like
a list
character list. Go right ahead. Tell me more about your stuff.
Tell me more. Would you like to know more? Please click. Sorry, that was a movie quote. Horrible movie. So yeah, Lady Archer.
Starship Troopers.
Oh, you recognized it. You get cool points. Would you like to know more? Anyway, I'm not gonna lie. I actually went to go buy that movie recently, and apparently when I took the movie home, someone had already stolen the movie out of the DVD case, and I got an empty case. I was really pissed. Anyway, I know. Anyway, so as Lady Archer was mentioning, there's several characters that some we don't know too much about, and some are side characters, and some we know a lot about. Like she mentioned, you've got Spawn, you've got Misty Knight, you've got Static Shock, Storm, Luke Cage, Black Panther. One she did not mention, Blade, Jon Stewart, who is one of the Green Lanterns. There's a ton out there that we all know.
Blade the Vampire.
Blade the Vampire. Well, he's half vampire, but there's
really be a superhero if you're drinking people's blood.
I mean, well, he's in comic books. Let's rephrase comic books.
Plus, I mean, Wesley Snipes an asshole.
He is. As a matter of fact, there were the last in Blade Trinity, the director and Wesley Snipes did not talk at all, except for via Post-it notes, because he was so into the character of Blade, and he and the director did not get along whatsoever. He said, no, Blade would never do that. He got so pissed off that he decided, the only way I'm going to talk to you is via Post-it notes. So, all around the entire set were yellow Post-it notes on how he wanted to talk to the other actors and the director. It's a true story. YouTube that shit. It's fucking hilarious. Because he's such a child.
Damn, I went to make a mark on the board.
Slit you out.
Yeah, I find improfessionalism so hilarious every damn fucking day.
Oh, there you go. Now I can put that one up there. Yeah, he's one of those jerk face method actors that takes it too far and doesn't know when to turn it off. And fortunately, that's kind of who he is. And he doesn't pay his taxes and gets pissed off.
Whatever. Let's talk about some real stuff.
So, all of the characters that we've kind of mentioned, it's very surprising to some people to kind of understand that there wasn't a writer or an artist that influenced most of these characters that we've already mentioned in their creation. The only ones that were completely created via either an artist or a writer from the conception of the creator is Misty Knight and Static Shock, from what we have just talked about, the ones we just kind of went over. As Lady Archer mentioned earlier, Static Shock really got his notoriety from his cartoon series. He was in comic books very briefly, just a few pages here and there. He did get his own comic book run later on, but he was really well known on Saturday cartoons here in the United States and around the world once he kind of got his foot in the door. That was in Marvel's heyday of really kind of doing tons of stuff, and you had Saturday comic book cartoons from all the different publishers, DC,
Static
Marvel.
Shock with DC.
Yes, Marvel, DC, going on. So in the early 90s, this is where it really kicked off. Misty Knight, even though she's not a mainstream solo character, she was really introduced in the Luke Cage series, but she was written and created by both black artists and writers. The ones for Static Shock was Dwayne McDuffie, and Misty Knight was Arvil Jones. But it's really kind of, crazy. I wanted to do some research on which characters, had a black writer, had a black artist kind of start, and all the big ones that I knew were not even touched in their initial runs by those types of Black American artists or writers. The only time that Black Panther had a writer and artist come into it wasn't until the late 90s. And that character was created in the 60s. So that just kind of blew my mind that they didn't even kind of go to someone and say, hey, what's going on? It's that typical, hey, I think we know what this country or what this type of person is going through. Let's make a character like that. That's like me creating an Australian comic book, never having been to Australia, not knowing the type of cultures or religions or anything like that, and then just kind of saying, all right, well, let's put another shrimp on the Barbie. We're good to go.
Isn't that what the Outback is?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like you've got Outback Steakhouse, although there are Outback Steakhouse. Outback Steakhouses in Australia. They don't go there.
Really? I mean, if I was Australian and I saw an Outback Steakhouse, I'd burn that bitch to the ground.
So it's just kind of funny. It's funny in that sense, but as far as the characters that we kind of mentioned, it really is sad when you think about it that we don't have more of that in the comic book world today. Now, say, the 90s, the 80s, there were literally, a handful of writers and artists in the mainstream publishing companies like DC and Marvel that had any hands on any of the characters. Now, there were some independent comic book companies out there that were doing their own thing, and some of those characters have since been bought or absorbed into bigger publishers like Vertigo, IDW, and then some into DC and Marvel after buying those said publishing companies. But it's just crazy. Like, I didn't know that. This is kind of a little bit, I mean, it wasn't too much of a shock, but once I realized that out of the 10, 15, 20 characters that I knew that were black characters in the superhero comic book world, I mean, literally, like 3 fingers were the ones that I found from creation. It was just kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you look at who's actually a black artist or writer that's working on characters that are black at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, Ken Lashley is one of the artists that's working on Black Panther currently. I've met Ken Lashley. He's a freaking awesome guy.
Have I met Ken Lashley?
Ken Lashley was the one that we couldn't get even close to at Fan Expo. Well, you weren't there at Fan Expo, but at Toronto Comic Con.
Yeah.
He's the one that does Hulk.
That's right.
He does a lot of Hulk.
That's right.
But he's also done a lot of other things, including I need him to sign 3 issues of my Secret Six that I have from Gail Simone, because he did work. He was a penciler on Secret Six episodes issues 1 through 8. Mm-hmm. He's done Hulk. He's done Flash. He's done Green Arrow. He's done.
That's right, because the 2 times that he was slated to be at Heroes Con, he wasn't at the table when we went by. Not this year, but the year before.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually showed up last year for Heroes Con. I don't think he did.
No, I don't recall Ken being there last year.
But yeah.
Maybe he wasn't here this year. We just didn't know. He just never showed up, and they always thought he was at his table. That's brilliant.
We saw that had happened.
Yeah. There was a few times where like artists kind of trade tables with people, and they don't let the con goers and the organization know that they've moved, because there's a few times when we were trying to find someone to interview and we had to go on the other side of the entire room because, we just decided to move. We swapped tables with somebody. So it's kind of crazy. But, yeah, so we've got Black History Month going on right now. For those of you that would like to learn more, I encourage you to kind of go and look at all the characters that you might think were created or written by Black Americans. Go figure it out. Go read and see what other great stories are out there. There's tons of characters out there right now that are not mainstream comics that are really good. There's quite a few characters, like one from, what's the name of the book? Saga. There's a great character in that you got to go read.
That's Image.
Yeah, Saga. Bitch Planet has a few great black characters in it.
Oh my god, everybody needs to read Saga and Bitch Planet. They're like the best.
Well, it's Kelly Sue DeConnick. How can you not read Bitch Planet?
It's true.
Like, I don't care if you think that feminism is stupid or whatever. read it just because the story is fucking compelling
Yeah.
for once in such a long damn time. I swear, it's really getting bad where I'm so tired of seeing the same damn story
Over and
repeated
over.
with
Yeah.
characters that have much more depth to them, but like, so I'm sorry. I'll regress into this argument I have with about Raven, how she gets the same storyline, and in this new comic, it's almost the same fucking storyline. She has to deal with her. I gotta stop. Okay, let's talk about what we're talking about.
No, we love it.
No,
is
this goes back
natural.
to last episode. So this is a tie-in to last episode.
Lapse episode.
We talked about Raven and exactly this fact that, and this is the thing. I mean, look at the rebirth of any of these characters when they reintroduce them. Luke Cage in the new Netflix series effectively just rehashed the original Luke Cage storyline.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like it was in the book. The origin story hasn't changed. Why? Why don't you modernize it? Why don't you change it? Why don't you make it unique and new to this genre and generation? No, we're just going to do what we've already done because it worked before in the 70s because everyone's right on.
Well, it's a great talking point that you kind of bring that up. We may branch off a little bit here, but it's very similar to when you see a book that has been written into a screenplay to go into a movie. Sometimes they want to take their creative liberties and do their own thing, but sometimes it's best to stick with trying to fit it to that mold, like a TV series or a movie. Personally, I like the originality of taking it and putting it into screen form to get the backstory going. Then you can kind of branch off and do the own thing. I don't think they need to go like book by book by book in chronological order the entire time telling every story, because then you know what's going to happen. But I am kind of okay with them rehashing a little bit. What I'm not okay with is something like a Superman or a Batman. We don't need a background story for the 50th millionth time. We all know about Superman. We all know about Batman. We all know that. Just skip it.
Their parents are dead.
Yes, we get it.
Their parents are dead.
But a character like Luke Cage, I've never read a full series of Luke Cage. I've had the privilege of, getting a book here and there where I've read something, but I had no clue what happened before or after because I read one book because I was an idiot. But, it's good to kind of have that a little bit.
Dude.
I know. We all know this. I'm an idiot. But it's good to kind of have that. But that's all I'm going to talk about on like books and stuff like that, being transformed into a TV series or a movie. But yeah, during this Black History Month, I do know that Marvel and DC are pushing out tons of books. Actually, let me look at the calendar. I think DC has something coming out the 21st of February where they're doing a Black History Month kind of like free comic book day, I believe. I could be wrong on that. At least that's what I read a couple of weeks ago that they were going to do, where they're going to take some of their notable characters and do one-off issues for Black History Month, kind of tying it in. They didn't really go into detail on the history of it, but I don't know if Marvel's doing anything. I didn't see anything on that on the news, but this is a great way to kind of see all the different characters. And despite what you might think, a lot of other comic books creators, they've always tried to diversify without touching the subject of black characters in their books by introducing some other type of character that was maybe not human or maybe not Caucasian, but some other type of demographic, whether that's an alien green thing or, it's something else. They try and throw that in there. But really what a lot of people want to see, and I think it's great to have right now, is someone of color in comic books that's more prevalent.
Now, I have a question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it may take a little bit of research. So I'm going to throw this one over to Lady Archer.
Oh, no.
Well, no, you and I have talked about this a couple of times about the pervasiveness in current culture of transgender, cross-gender, LGBTQ in comics.
Mm-hmm.
What have they done as far as LGBTQ and ethnicity?
Very little.
Yeah, very, very little.
I mean, let's think about it. The last storyline we heard about any Well, okay, so the last storyline I can think of was that whole debacle with Batgirl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Burnside. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the girl's name that was her roommate.
I can't even remember it, but I remember that was like a year ago, I think.
Well,
A
it's
year.
interesting, and it's interesting when you say that because when we realized that it was Babs Tarr, it was after Gail had stepped away from Batgirl. It was the Babs Tarr series with Cameron Stewart and oh come on, we met them. We met them at Motor Crush.
Oh, yeah. The two male artists and writers.
Cameron and I can't remember.
Oh, this
I'm
is
sorry.
blanking me. No, yeah, no.
I can't remember either.
But effectively, they look at Motor Crush. Motor Crush is about a lesbian mechanic.
Yes.
Right? So there is a definite undertone in what that group writes because the three of them together, and I know you're looking it up now, aren't you, Mr. Chulak?
I am because it's bothering me. I can picture them.
Yeah.
Cameron Stewart and Brennan Fletcher.
Fletcher. That's right. Fletcher, Stewart, and Babs Tarr.
Totally wrong. I thought his name was Paul.
Paul! Damn it, Paul! No.
But their story, it fits the same storyline. They've taken, and in fact, actually, now that I think about it, their character, their primary character in Motor Crush, is a girl of color who's racing, and the girl who was Barbara Gordon's roommate, who was really into Barbara Gordon, was a girl of color.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, it's Motor Crush, it's Bitch Planet, it's
a lot of the indie.
It's those two. I mean, there are other small things, like some characters have come out that everyone just assumed. I think in the past few years they announced that Wonder Woman was bisexual.
We did have a Green Lantern that was gay.
And everybody who reads comics is like, no fucking way. And
yeah, we did have a Green Lantern that
did
came
no
out
one
gay.
else see this? Like, I meant that in a sarcastic tone. Like, if you've read Wonder Woman, either from the beginning of Wonder Woman or you jumped into the middle, think about her origins. She grew up on an island with nothing but women. What the fuck do you think was going on? And why would you just assume that she's heterosexual?
Well, here's the other thing too. Remember that Wonder Woman was all about BDSM.
Yeah.
In the
one of the great things that I encouraged that was on AMC, if you have like an AMC downloadable whatever, Robert Kirkman's History of Comics, they did a special on Wonder Woman, which I watched. This is right before I had to go off and deal with family. But they did a whole thing on Wonder Woman and the backstory of how the writer created Wonder Woman and how that whole story came about was some messed up stuff. And you're like, wow, this made it to a comic book? I mean, yeah, sure, it was, about that. But like KJ said, it's like a lot of BDSM. But there was definitely some undertones that, back then everyone just kind of overlooked because you had males reading comic books and they thought something like that was kind of interesting for them. But really, in hindsight, in today's world, if someone put that content out, you would be like, whoa, let's tap the brakes a little bit because now we're kind of going into some what we think is uncharted water where you can go which way. But
I think things will change, and they have changed in the past few years. I mean, think about it. You think something like Motocross or Bitch Planet would have come out even like 10 years ago?
I don't think it would have survived 10 years ago. I mean, I think it would have, but yeah.
And I think that's in the total. I mean, think about it. When people first started reading comic books, it was mostly male teenagers, and slowly over the years, women have come into comic books, and so I think it's just that slow, unfortunately, the slow march of time where you take the minority groups of women, of people of color, of the LGBTQ plus community. I can't believe I got that out completely.
You did.
Congratulations,
I'm
me.
impressed.
The transgender community. It takes more time for people who have been subjugated to become part of something, and that sucks.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing goes along with that, and I'm going to follow exactly that. In the 70s and 80s, certain things were taken to extremes as far as what you could do on television, what you could say, what kind of aspects were on there. And things then changed and shifted back, from a left wing, very liberal, to more of a center to now a more right wing. The published works, so comics as an example, are an area where they've always been on the fringe as far as what they put out. And, I will say, God bless them, because if it wasn't for comic books, there's a lot of us that would not know where it is we sit in the world.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, when I first...
Wow, this has gotten way too serious.
Yeah. When I first read comics, I read it because I felt like an outcast. I identified with the X-Men. I felt that no one understood me but these characters, because they felt what I felt. And as people have become more, I don't think understanding is the word, but
people have become more comfortable with their skin.
Yeah.
Yes, people have become more comfortable with being rejected, because they would rather be rejected than feel the hatred they have inside for not being themselves.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see that more in comics, because people are going to demand that. And I think they have a right to see that people deserve to see themselves in the world, whether it's in TV or movie or books or comics. You have to, if you don't represent somebody, they will feel like they're invisible, and that, I think, is the most dangerous feeling you can have as a person, because that leads to a whole lot of problems.
Yep.
Yo, represent.
Great. That's a great topic to kind of finish that off on, because
as we bring down,
as we bring it down,
we have it, because
we have another show
to talk about. Take a moment, light a candle.
Yeah, well,
pop some Xanax, and
my candle is lit in the corner, but actually I've decided we're going to just go ahead and talk about the Ant-Man Wasp trailer on the next show. I'm going to finish this off on a much more lighthearted thing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Ant-Man and Wasp might bring us up a little bit from this downtrodden hole we found ourselves in.
I think what I've got here in my hand is gonna do us in here. So before the Christmas break, before literally the episode that I thought I was recording with you guys, and then I had to rush home and deal with family matters, I received...
I like that show.
Steve Urkel.
I received a letter in the mail from one of our favorite creators, Mr. Ryan Little.
It a bomb threat?
No, Mr. Ryan Little. We've recorded several interviews with.
Was it a cease and desist letter?
No, it was not. Let me finish, because you're going to enjoy this. So, Ryan Little reached out to me before the last episode that I missed. Was it a naked
picture?
It was not a naked picture. I was totally waiting for a stick figure of him shirtless, and then for the Lady Archer. But no, it wasn't that. No, so Mr. Ryan Little, the creator of Lonesomes and, of course, Prometheus, that's his newest book, sent us a thank you letter. Now, I'm going to go and preface this with, this is the most creative thank you card I've ever received in my entire life.
Is it all in, cutout letters from a magazine?
No. So the letter that I was given was actually a happy anniversary to my husband letter, but he since went through and permanently marked X's on words and substituted with his own words. So I'm gonna read the card as it should read, and then I'm gonna read with his word submissions.
And hold on. You know what? I actually think you should read it the opposite direction. Read it with his words first, then read it as it was originally written.
All right, okay, I'll flip it. All right, here we go. So, as per Mr. Ryan's little changes, this is how it reads. Happy friendship tribute to my podcast friends. I knew from the start you were the friendly people I'd always dreamt of talking comics with. You fill my brain with appreciation and good memories, things to remember, and blank tribute to your kindness. Happy with all my love, honest appreciation. Thanks for all the awesome conversations and support. It really means the world. Looking forward to another fun year, Ryan. Now, as it should read, happy anniversary to my husband. I knew from the start you were the man I'd always dreamt of. You fill my heart with peace and gladness, happiness and love. Happy anniversary with all of my love. So he sent us this, and I was laughing my ass off when I was reading it. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. But he also did send us something else. KJ told me not to show it to you, Lady Archer, but I am, because I'm actually going to give it to you. I am going to give it to you.
Are you keeping things from me, KJ? We talked about this.
So this is straight from the artist. This is an original. This is not a duplicate because there's fingerprints and there's ink wash and everything. But this is a small card of the character Prometheus.
Are there crying stains?
No. Drawn by the artist himself for the Prometheus book. That is Prometheus himself. It is signed by the artist. It's so small you can't really see it there. And then, of course, there's Ryan Little's name somewhere in the black ink that I can barely see. But, you know, it's a very small card. It's about hand size. I'm going to give that to you, Lady Archer, because I get yelled at last time he sent us something. I didn't give it to you guys, and I kept it. So, Lady Archer, you get to keep it. Please get it framed because it is beautiful. It is awesome. There's so much detail in here. It's crazy. Like, you've even got, like...
I'm gonna laminate that shit and use it as a bookmark. I love it.
Oh my god.
I want it with me.
Told you.
Okay, so next time we interview Ryan Little, I'm like, hey Ryan, you're with her right now. In between the crack of her next book.
I'm gonna put it in my favorite book.
There you go. But it is awesome. That is for you. Thank you, Ryan Little, for reaching out to us. You are truly a great friend. Best wishes on your Netflix series that you've been working on now that IMDb has officially updated what he has worked on. Yo, he's worked on every freaking Marvel show on Netflix. Yeah. Every single one. He's worked on Luke Cage. He's worked on Iron Fist. He's worked on Daredevil. I don't think he did Jessica Jones, but he's worked on all of them. I could be wrong, but dude is consistently just all hands in there. Now, he's the production's assistant, but anyway, thanks, Ryan, again for sending that to us. It really does mean a lot. For those listening out to us on the podcast, be sure to follow us at Legends Panel on Twitter. Of course, you can follow all of our other shows on the network. Active Geek Podcast is a great show to listen to. That's Active Geek _. Then, of course, you can listen to our show that we'll be recording next Thursday, which is Warp My TARDIS at Warp My TARDIS. And if
what are we doing for Warp My TARDIS?
We'll talk about, we're just, it's surprise. We're not talking about it tonight.
Since you guys talked about Star Wars, you guys should watch the entire Star Wars, the Clone Wars series, and talk about that.
I don't know if I have enough beer.
Oh,
wait, no. Oh, you mean the cartoon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm down for that.
Wine in the world.
No, I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
That was a fucking masterpiece. Woo. How dare you trot down on that beautiful piece of work?
You need 3 more. Come on.
Come on, 3 more Fs. Come on, do it. Do it.
I don't work under pressure.
All right, fine.
3 more to 20. Come on.
All right. Anyway, so
fucking idiots. The Clone Wars was the fucking best show, and you better fucking accept it. Are you happy now, you motherfuckers?
Oh, 21!
I love it.
Yes, all right, we love it. And on that note, I think we're going to wring this show out to dry. Put it out to dry. Wring it out to dry. I can't even talk right now. Guys, it was awesome being back on the show with you. I'm so glad that I get to experience the Lady Archer and her greatness, and KJ the comic guy and all the knowledge, and me being the noob.
Oh. Bow at my fucking feet.
Oh, we got another one. So that's what, 22? 22. That is a new record. So we'll see what we can get. Just safe to say that moving forward, we're going to be an explicit show. It makes for better ratings anyway. So
One day it'll be 50. I don't know how I'm going to fucking do it, but I'm going to
23.
figure it out.
All right. Well, we will figure it out. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Legends of the Panel podcast on the Geek Culture Cast Network. If you like what you hear, be sure to follow us on Twitter and use the hashtag GCCN hashtag on all of our shows if you like what you hear. Bobby Anthem, shout out to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good new year. And we will see you again in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone. If I can remember where I put the button, because I can't remember. Oh, there it is.
Under your butt.
I found it. This has been a presentation of the Geek Culture Cast Network. To find out more, email us at geekculturecastnetwork@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter @geekculturecast.